Welcome back, everyone. It's Dr. Brain. Episode 1, the premiere of the new Korean thriller, now out on Apple TV. Plus, we're seeing a lot of Korean film and television infiltrate American culture. And this show, I would bet, is hoping to follow in the footsteps of Squid Game as another hit Korean show that will pervade, obviously, into, as I said, United States culture, worldwide culture. So we start out with this kid sitting in a little cabinet looking at his flashlight, going and seeing a bunch of different colors come up. And I felt like that was kind of an indicator of kind of how colorful the show as a whole was going to be, especially the beginning part, especially like the flashback part. We start in this like 1990, and that was like the flashback to this kid's childhood, this guy's childhood. Kid is named Sewon, I believe, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Sewon Ko. He basically is like, I want to know how everything works. And he opens up a fire extinguisher and it explodes or something, gets in everyone's eyes. The kids are all freaking out. And the teacher tells the mom, she's like, this is weird. Your kid just like didn't care that anyone was in pain. He just kept on going with it. And it brings up those thoughts of like, is this kid a sociopath? Does he feel any empathy, any emotion? Kind of goes and gets studied by these doctors because his mom's like worried, I guess, that he's like abnormal. He goes and gets studied by these doctors and they say he is smart, great memory, but he doesn't have any social skills. He might have autism, is what they say. And they show the mom a little thing that shows how expensive it's all going to be. And it's going to be expensive, all like the treatments and stuff. And the mom kind of freaks out. And they walk outside, and kind of a great start to the episode where I was like, big gasp. The mom just walks in front of a truck and dies. I didn't see it coming. Maybe I should have. But I guess the mom was just like overwhelmed with what everything's gonna cost. Saddened by how her kid isn't the same as the other kids. Not gonna lead a normal life. I guess she was sad, overwhelmed. And I think this was kind of a sign that maybe he does have emotions, is he faints when his mom gets hit by the truck. He doesn't cry, doesn't scream, he just faints. Which, if he didn't have any emotions, then why would he faint? Got a good memory, as we find when the doctors are studying his brain. He says, oh, I remember literally everything about it. Like the license plate, the color of the hat that the truck driver was wearing. He knew everything. The doctors were like, whoa, that's wild. We got to study this kid's brain. So they look, and his hippocampus is big, which is the memory part of the brain, but the emotions part of the brain was small. And they're like, this kid, obviously, again, he's going to have a great memory, but he's not going to really lead a normal social life. We kind of see that as he gets older. He gives this, we cut to normal time, present time. He gives this kind of short, confusing presentation on what he's doing, what he's studying. I felt like it wasn't a very interesting way to present hey, this is basically the plot of the whole story. It was just like a presentation. And these people were like, I have a question. And I felt like that kind of served as what questions the audience might have for what he's doing. And he answers them. And I thought it was very dry and kind of confusing and short. And then at the reception, this journalist comes up and she's like, hey, you had a fucked up past, right? And he was like, I don't want to talk about that. And she was like, okay. Like a bad journalist, honestly. And she was just very cheerfully was like, hey, tell me all your deepest and darkest secrets. What are the worst things that happened to you that drive you today? Obviously, he's not going to want to answer that. And then we see him trying to transfer memories from one rat to another rat. It doesn't work. He's depressed. He's not depressed. He's just like, dang, that didn't work. He has a little assistant. What was his name? Namil. I don't know how to pronounce it. Namil. We'll say Namil. And Namil was like, hey, we'll get him next time. You want to go get a drink? And he's like, nah. So I think that's just he's an awkward guy. Not a ton of social skills. You can see he's completely consumed by his work. I feel like this is very much a one character show. It's main character, not an ensemble cast. This is this guy, Dr. Brain. We basically just follow him throughout, his day. He's at work. When he's not at work, he's thinking about work. Goes to this bar, and they're like, do you want to drink? He's like, no, I don't drink. The guy's like, you have any friends? He's like, no. He's just all work. All work, no play. makes Dr. Brain a dull brain. Then he goes home. And I feel like there are some moments where like the show's trying to be dramatic and trying to show him, oh, I remember my son. But I feel like he's a very not sentimental person. So I don't know why he would be holding the ball as he gazes pensively into the yard. Maybe he's remembering, but if you want to push that he's like not a sentimental person, instead of like, I don't know, he holds the ball, but at the same time you're like, he wants to get rid of a cat. He doesn't care about a cat. He remembers his family, and his son died. It seems his wife, I thought, died. More on that later. It seems like my impression when I was watching it was son and wife dead. That might not be true. Goes back to the lab, keeps trying, and it works. But one rat died. And it only worked once one rat died. One rat died, and the other rat was able to find the cheese in the maze. But then he goes up to this person, administrative person, and he's like, I want to do a human trial of this. But it has to be with a corpse. And I want to do it tomorrow, or something like that. And the administrator was like, well, obviously not. We can't just give you a corpse. And he's like, why? And she's like, you have to do all this stuff first. And he's like, that'll take 2 years. So he very much just wants to do it now. And obviously he can't. Obviously you have to swim up some channels, right? You have to talk to the right people. You have to get some approval before you go and do this wild thing. He convinces Namil to help him, which I don't know why Namil would. They go in and they sneak into a morgue. Some like security guard catches them and he's like, oh, you're doctors. It's okay. I don't know. Like, why does Namil have access to the morgue, but Sewon doesn't? It's kind of strange. They go down, pull out a body, and get started. And it kind of works. He sees a memory, but we're not sure whose memory it is. We're not sure what it even is. It's like a rock being smashed on a head is what it looks like. But we only see the rock coming up and down. Really beautifully shot, by the way. It's like a really well shot, well directed show. Namil realizes, hey, he's not breathing. He's kind of dead. So Namil like resuscitates him, CPR. And he comes back to life. And Namil's like, what'd you see? He was like, I saw something. Like kind of a weird, cryptic way. Just like, if I was Namil, I would be pissed. Because I like brought this guy, I snuck this guy into a morgue. He died. I brought him back to life and he won't even tell me about what he saw. But he goes, like, as of now, up until this point, the show itself is kind of slow. It's just kind of, it's kind of what you expect from episode 1 of a new TV show. But it's just kind of building, you could tell. And then as he's leaving, he's like, we're going to do it again. And if I was Namil, I would be like, probably not, right? You died. So then it gets a little confusing up to this point. Someone showed up. There's like a private investigator waiting at his house. And the private investigator's like, do you know this person? He knew your wife. Talk to me. Dr. Brain, Sewon is like, I don't know who you're talking about. And the guy's like, okay. Leaves. He has Junki Lim, I believe was his name. Sewon's like, no, get out of here. Guy gets out of there. Someone goes to sleep. And he has these weird dreams. And he wakes up. We can tell that those dreams are kind of a side effect of, this transfer attempt. He wakes up and two like investigators are at the door, like police. I think they were some kind of official investigators. They were like, someone just got murdered. You knew your wife. And they're like, can we talk to your wife? And at this point I'm like, what? The wife is dead. Is this a flashback? I was like, this must be a flashback. But before the private investigator came up to him and was like, you know this person? And he was like, no. So it just kind of threw me off. So I got a little confused there. But it showed that people are kind of suspicious of the wife's death, or like suspicious of Sewon's involvement in any of it. And they basically accuse him of killing Junki Lim. They're like, Junki Lim is dead. You know your wife. What do you know about this? He's like, are you accusing me? And they're like, no, but you can tell. They're accusing him. So at this point, I'm like, this is a flashback because the wife is dead. Why are they asking to see the wife? And then he goes into his desk and pulls out some like a coroner card, some kind of card that he has for whatever reason to get access to Junki Lim's body. He's like, why is everyone asking me about this person? I need to know. And we can tell, oh shit. He's like, I'll pay you. And the person's like, okay, sure, come in. He goes and he finds Junki Lim and he starts transferring memories. Oh my God. But it's at that point that I'm like, well, didn't this kill you last time? Like, how have you made these advancements in knowing what to do that'll keep you alive? Because otherwise you would have just died. If you didn't have Namil there, you would have just died last time. That was weird. But it works, apparently. He gets these memories, but they're strange and it's like they're memories that he's not used to dealing with memory this way. He's always used to like remembering everything. But not now. Now he is having trouble remembering any of Junki Lim's memories, which kind of makes sense. I mean, they're not your memories. Then he starts seeing weird shit. Creepy stuff. Someone running at him, a little girl. He starts hallucinating. And even before that, you can tell, okay, this is changing him. He's starting to be more sociable. He's starting to drink alcohol, starting to drink coffee, starting to listen to music. He's left-handed now, and he's noticed all of this. And he starts telling himself, okay, I'm this, I'm not this way. He's having to remind himself. And this part was definitely the best part of the episode. This part kind of showed that this show has a lot of promise, I think. I think it could really take off. It's very exciting. He writes down on like the board that Dr. No comes in. He's like, hey, he starts like joking with him and stuff. And he writes down on the board, I don't like this guy. And that's brutal for Dr. No because he's going to see it. He's just going to come into work and see, I don't like this guy. But again, social skills that you lack. He sees all the creepy shit. This girl tells him, hey, your son's alive. He's like, hey, what do you mean? He's like, your son's alive. He was like, that's what my wife used to say. He goes home. And I feel like this was a twist, right? The whole episode, I was under the impression your wife's dead until those people came and I'm like, well, is she not? And then he goes downstairs to the basement and he sees his wife laying in the hospital bed. And we're like, oh, he's been keeping her in a comatose state. Why not a hospital? Like, why isn't she in a hospital first off? Why is he just keeping her at his house? That's the first question. And the second question is, he starts to do the memory transfer to figure out, why did you think that our son was alive? Isn't that going to kill her? Is he just murdering his wife so that he can remember things that she knew? Like, why not bring her? Why not? I don't know. Maybe he's like, she's going to die anyway. Let me just do this. Maybe he's an anti-hero of sorts. He's got some weird shit though. And it's very exciting to see what happens. So it ends with the kind of cliffhanger of him doing the memory stuff with his wife. So very excited to see where it goes. I thought this was an excellent premiere. I thought it was really well directed. I thought that the acting was good. It's always hard to tell when you don't speak the language, but the acting was good. Can't really speak to the dialogue or the writing or anything because, again, subtitles and translations messes with all that stuff. Really excited to see where it goes. Can't make too many judgments on the show or the series, but it was a good premiere. A little slow at the start, but it picked up. I would give this episode, as a premiere, a 3.5 out of 5. Good, solid start. Excited to see where it goes, and yeah, that's it for Dr. Brain episode 1. Let me know what you thought about it, and I'll see you in a week's time for Dr. Brain episode 2. Deuces.